Hello, I'm Linda Putnam of London Talks and Tours, and I'm going to talk today about Dickens and the city of London. Dickens knew the city very well, and he used many sites that he knew in his fiction. Charles Dickens was born in Portsmouth on the south coast of England. At the age of 2, he settled for 3 years in London with his family. At age 5, they all moved away from London to Chatham, where he went to school. At age 10, they again moved to London, to the new northern borough of Camden Town, at that time considered a lower middle-class area. At first, everything seemed okay, but shortly Dickens began to realize that no one spoke of sending him back to school, and he began to see that he was being asked to do small household chores, clean his father's boots, and take small household items to the local pawn shop. Dickens was a child who really liked school, and felt he would grow up to be a learned gentleman. Without school, this was not possible. Because money was short, Mrs. Dickens planned to start a day school for young children. She moved the family to a home on Gower Street in Bloomsbury, a more prosperous area. She had a large brass sign made for her front door, which read Mrs. Dickens' Establishment, had Charles distribute flyers in the neighborhood, and on the first day of school, no one showed up. A few months later, just around Charles's 12th birthday, his father, John Dickens, was arrested for debt. He and the family were sent to the Marshalsea debtors' prison. Charles took a job in Warren's bootblacking factory, which served as a model for the wine factory in the autobiographical novel David Copperfield. And his younger sister Frances was sent to a music school on scholarship. Neither of them entered the prison. Charles was sent to live in one room on Lance Street, just 2 blocks south of the prison. Bootblacking was extremely important in those days because London streets were covered in mud, and if a good quality boot polish wasn't kept on the boots, they would rot very quickly. Dickens used the Marshalsea prison and the close-by church of St. George the Martyr as primary settings in his novel Little Dorrit. One evening in the story, Amy Dorrit is returning from work, but arrives after the gates of the prison are locked for the night. She begins to bed down on the church steps when the verger arrives to tell her that she must come inside, where he will prepare a bed for her on the vestry floor. To this day, visitors to the Little Dorrit vestry in the church ask to see Amy Dorrit's baptismal record and the marriage document she signed on the day of her wedding at St. George's. In Pickwick Papers, Dickens placed the character of Bob Sawyer in the same room where he had lived as a 12-year-old. And the Gladstone Arms Pub at the end of the street is where Bob Sawyer borrowed glasses when he had a party. Just a few steps from the prison is Guy's Hospital, where Bob Sawyer studied medicine. So these are just a few examples of how Dickens transported places from his own real life to his fiction. I'll talk about many other sites that Dickens used in his fiction in the rest of my program. Thanks for being here today.